Okay, I didn't think this through, because, like, I was trying to go for a whole, hey, I'm Laser Spider from Dimension blah blah blah, but I kind of looked like a mix between regular Spider-Man and Spider-Man Noir.
It's laser time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review. We'll talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch the review. Yeah.
Hello everyone, how's it going? I am Laser Dude. Welcome to another Laser Dude review. Today we are looking at Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This movie's made by Sony Animation, and it involves Miles Morales getting bitten by a radioactive spider, and you know what, let's not go into the origins of this movie. We'll go into that in great detail, and a lot more. All you gotta know is that while Miles is trying to figure out how he got these spider powers, he comes across Kingpin that is working on this collider that is stretching out throughout the multiverses and ends up in accidentally taking 5 different Spider-Men and ladies to this dimension, Miles Morales' dimension, from their own. So he has to learn to be Spider-Man very quickly. So let's start with the thing that I really want to talk about is the animation in this movie. And there have been times where people have tried to bring comics to life. I mean, you look at Ang Lee's Hulk, where they're like, let's have shots set up like comic book panels, and you're like, no, that was a terrible idea. And then you've had other times where, like, movies that have come close, like Scott Pilgrim, you know, those were close. But I think this is the movie that has really fully brought the feel of a comic book to life. And not just because it has word balloons all the time, or that it has weird little shots like this. It's just the feel of it feels super like a comic book. The animation is great. I love the way it is used, how it uses color and also the lack of color. This animation is so quick and so fast, and it utilizes all the different Spider-Men that they get in this film, all their different styles in the same animation, and you feel like everything feels just off a little bit, but it works. It all works in this film. Little touches like the Kingpin in this, he's the main villain of the movie, he's so imposing, but they have like barely any color for him. They decided to go with him is wearing all black, so whenever he's in a scene, sometimes he'll take up like half the screen with his body because of how imposing he is, but it'll just be black. So if you went like, you covered like half of your face and just looked at his body, you would just see a black screen. It really gets you with a feeling of, oh crap, this guy is super imposing. I will say that this movie, its pacing is interesting, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it's like, it's part of the movie's strength and part of the movie's weakness. It's a strength because the plot is super quick. You keep it going, and even if some things in the movie could be predictable or you've seen coming even if you haven't read the comic books, you know, at the very least, it keeps it going so fast that you're not even thinking about that. You know, you're not thinking, oh, this is going to happen next, I bet. You're thinking, okay, oh, whoa. You know, the movie has sucked you in. The downside is, like, some things you just don't get any moment to really breathe that often. Like, there's a few. I'm not saying the movie is, like, talking all the time or super annoying or super, you know, doesn't take any moments to establish character or anything like that. I'm not saying anything like that, because it does do those things. But, like, the animation, like, there's some, for example, you know, Peter Parker doesn't really get a chance to really train Miles at all, really. You know, they basically just go straight into the mission, and Miles is having to figure things out on the fly, which in some ways it works for the story. You know, he's feeling overwhelmed and scared and doesn't exactly know what to do as he's thrown in this extremely dangerous situation without having any experience before. But it's just like, you know, when the later things happen near the end of the movie where he's starting to kick some butt or whatever, you're like, yeah, but how are you doing this? I mean, some things you can say, well, the spider sense helps, like the web swinging and the you know, the fighting, that sort of things helps. But, you know, battle strategies, and it's like, what's making you think to do this? But I don't think it ever goes to the point where it's like I find things unbelievable or unrealistic. I think for the most part it keeps the world contained in this weird, it's a weird world for sure, but it keeps everything working within its world. We got Shameik Moore, who's playing Miles Morales, and you know what? I thought for sure when I heard the voice and everything, I thought it was a teenager voicing him. But now I look at the photo of the guy, and he has a full-on beard, so unless he hit puberty really early, I think he's pretty much an adult, yeah. But anyway, I like the way that Miles Morales is acted and portrayed and the way he's written, because there's some things where he's just like when he first comes in contact with a supervillain, you know, when he sees Spider-Man fighting one, he says, I should go help. And then he goes back down, like, no, what am I doing? What am I doing? And there's great scenes with, like, him, you know, trying to learn how to use his powers and everything, but he's too afraid to really use them because, like me, I'd be super afraid to jump off a building even if I had the powers to do it. I also like how this movie, though, it pokes at the world of Spider-Man, like, even the past. Even, my goodness, it got me to laugh at some Spider-Man 3 references. And when it can make me laugh at stupid stuff from Spider-Man 3, you know this movie's doing something good. I mean, this movie is a star-studded cast. We got Liev Schreiber as Kingpin, Mahershala Ali as, you know, his uncle. We got Haley Steinfeld as Spider-Woman. FYI, I always like to prefer to call Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, as they do in that new animated show. I think that's just a better name since we already have a Spider-Woman. And it's, like, I don't know. I just thought Ghost Spider was a better name. But anyway, let's talk about that and the other Spider-Men. And let me just say, I was shocked, mind you, when I saw that Nicolas Cage played Spider-Man Noir. I didn't even know going in. I didn't even know. And then when I saw the credit, I'm like, say what? That's 3 different superheroes that Nicolas Cage has played. But he does a good job. They all do a good job. I love that all the uniqueness of their characters, you know, how different they are and how their similarities are what makes them the Spider Family or the Spider-Verse, whatever you want to call them. Spider-Ham is great. He's a lot of fun. You know, they make, you know, good use of his cartoon stuff. Mostly to the point where I wanted more of them. You know, we mostly just get Peter Parker and Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen. The other ones only really come into the picture halfway, and I really wanted more with them. And if they make a sequel to this movie, I would like to see these characters come back and to do a whole lot more with them. But I think one thing that I really like about this movie is it really stays true to the Spider-Man spirit. Thank you for finally having a flippin' Spider-Man movie say flippin' with great power comes great responsibility. You realize we haven't had that since Spider-Man 3. Every other movie is trying to work its way around the saying, like, if bad things happen and you could stop them, but they still happen, then they happen because of you. Just say, with great power comes great responsibility, okay? Tobey Maguire didn't patent it. The theme of this movie is there's a lot of, you know, if you get beat down, you have to get back up. But also a lot of embracing who you are, but, like, there's also a lot of that you're not alone, you know? There's a really nice message in the credits that's, you know, dedicated to Stan Lee and Steve Ditko that is just like, we are not alone, you know? We all could be Spider-Man. And it's a nice sentiment. So I like the story, I like the acting, I like the characters, I love the animation. Even the villain Kingpin, they could have just gone generic evil, and he has some side villain characters which are basically just generic evil, but still fun evil. They give the Kingpin like an actual motivation and I'm just like, okay, I can kind of get, not that I agree with what the villain's doing or anything, but I can get behind this, and they make him really intimidating and really imposing. I mean, funny enough, like, out of all the villains that they have in this, Kingpin should be the weakest. I mean, because Kingpin doesn't have any powers. He's just a really buff guy. Like, he's strong enough to punch Spider-Man and for it to hurt, but he can't lift a car or anything like that. And yet, like, we got all these bigger, more powerful villains that are all just at his beck and call, but they really make him look super intimidating. Who knows? Maybe maybe they're putting that the Kingpin in this universe is a little bit more powerful than just a tough guy, but they make him actually imposing, and the way they have him do what he has to do is like, oh crap, this is a very fun and interesting villain, and the stuff that they have him go through and the stuff that he's dealing with, I love. It really relates to the whole story. So could I see some things coming in this story? Yeah, a few, but I find that these days, even if a movie has like a story that is a little predictable, as long as it's distracting me from thinking this is going to happen next, I'm good. You know, as long as I'm not thinking, well, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. Oh, yes, I was right. I wasn't really thinking about that. Now, could I see it? Yeah, I could see it coming, but I wasn't thinking about it coming. And that's what this movie does really well. It keeps you in the world. The animation sucks you into its world and keeps you focused on its characters, and it utilizes the characters great. It's really a lot of fun. One of the most fun movies this year. So let's get into it. I'm just going to give Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse a 8 out of 10. Honestly, the only thing is, like, some parts of the movie could be a little rushed. Maybe some characters act a little out of character. Maybe we didn't get as much development as we could have on some characters. But nitpicks overall, this is a great movie. I thoroughly recommend it to anybody, especially if you're a Spider-Man fan. This is a must-see. It's a way to get you into the Spider-Man world if you're interested and don't really know, because it fully dives into it. But it's also chocked full of references that you can get if you are a diehard Spider-Man fan. Like, honestly, the end credits of this film had me laughing out loud at all the tiny little jokes that they were throwing in there. And when the credits of a movie can do that, that means that this movie is doing something right. So now I'm going to quickly go into my spoiler part of this review, and if you haven't seen this movie yet, watch it before you can move on to this part, because I don't want anyone to give anything away. Like something was given away from me. I don't want to go fully into it right now, but basically I have a new job, and one of my new jobs, it's in radio, and in this new job, one of my things is to put certain shows on the air. And one of them was a review of this movie that I listened to today before I saw the movie, and in it the guy said, it's a Christian radio station, so he has to come at it from a Christian point of view, so he's like, the only thing is, there's 2 deaths that I'm not sure were necessarily necessary. And then I'm like, why would you say that? Not only did you say there are deaths, you gave me a number. Don't do that, because now I know. But, even still, I was kind of still a little shocked by Spider-Man's death, which I know it shouldn't have been, because one of the trailers had a gravestone of Peter Parker's grave. But I love the way they handled it. You really feel sad for Peter Parker's family and the way that everybody is going through stuff. And man, the simple shot of the graveyard and all of these mementos and candles laid out for Peter Parker's gravestone. I mean, it's just like, that warmed my heart, honestly, that all these people that Spider-Man saved and helped over the years just wanted to put something down just to show their respect for him. Stuff like that really made the world feel real to me. The second death, which being his uncle, was shocking as well, but not in the same way. Like I kind of figured that was going to happen. I didn't expect it to happen then, though. Like, the action was going super quick, back and forth, move, fight, right? And he's like, Miles? And then there was a moment where he put his mask back on, and I'm like, is he going to still try to kill his nephew? And he put the mask on so he didn't have to look him in the eyes, and then he let him go, and then no time flat, boom, Kingpin shoots him. And I'm like, oh crap, oh shoot, I didn't expect it to happen then. I think that might have been a little bit of a rush scene. Like, I felt like maybe it could have been set up better. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done differently, but it felt like, oh, okay. I was just laughing about Aunt May looking at her china being broken a second ago. It's hard to feel emotional now at this point. But it wasn't impossible to feel emotional. It was just, I'm just saying, it's like as I say, I don't know what I would have done differently, so I can't even know if I can call that I think it just might have been to the benefit, though, because it kept the action moving, and then bang, full stop, yikes. But also, I love how they had the Kingpin's relationship with his wife and how she ran out on him when she spotted him doing supervillainous things and died because of it. And so, of course, he doesn't take responsibility himself. He blames that on Spider-Man. And so he decides this whole thing to tear the universe apart just so he can find a replacement wife and son. Oh man, it's really good motivation for him, and they really sell it with the character and the way he's like completely covered in black, and like the way, as I said, the animation utilizes it is utterly fantastic. Now, what I was trying to get at in the non-spoiler part of the review, that I was talking about how the pacing sometimes goes too quickly, was how you get stuff that they're not able to dive into fully, like, for example, the spider that gives Miles Morales his powers. He was just spray painting some wall, and this spider comes up that is a radioactive spider and bites him. And we are never told where that spider came from. I mean, like, okay, we get that it says Alchemax on it, and it's from the Kingpin's factory, or whatever, but why does he have it? Why was he making spiders that give off spider powers? For what reason? How did it escape? How did it get to that specific alleyway? Nothing of that is explained. Now, unless they're playing the long game and they want to reveal in some sequel that somebody traveled through another dimension with that spider, put it in that alley to give Miles Morales specifically spider powers, unless there's something like that going on here, that scene makes absolutely no sense, because why would Kingpin have a spider with Spider-Man radioactive powers? Why would it be out? And why would it just go all the way to this alleyway specifically to bite Miles? It's way too contrived. That's the only reason why I just put this film back a little bit in the score, but honestly, not a whole lot. But that's all I gotta say. Oh, one more thing. I just really like the symbol, the way the music was swelling and how he was like on the ground, and then his dad's yelling, "Get up!" And then he gets up, and like this, the same thing with Spider-Man. It's like no matter what happens, no matter how hard you're beaten down, you always got to get up. It's a great moment, and I loved it. Really, I really love this movie. So thanks for watching, everybody. I am Laser Spider, and be sure to join me on my next review. Adios.
Be sure to check out some of these other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.
I wish I had one of those hoodies where you had like spider eyes on the front. That would have been nice, but I like this one too.